like I said,
We were so curious.
Yeah.
We were so curious.
Grew up conservative, but we're like, wait a second. It's okay to question your faith. It's okay to question your upbringing when you have conversations and you're like, oh, I grew up like that too. And then somebody's like, that's not normal.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, that's trauma.
Hey, yeah, like
That's some serious trauma. Hello, 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 and welcome to Table Culture. I'm Anna Faye.
And I'm Christy.
And we are the
Greco
Greco Sisters. We are so excited that you are here.
We are so excited. If you have no idea who we are, like I said before, we are sisters. We come from a big, crazy Italian, Sicilian family. We are from East Coast represents.
Northeast New Jersey.
Northern broadcasting live from Northern New Jersey. Yes, crazy East Coasters. And we grew up very sheltered, let's just say, sort of conservative. And that led us to today. That led us to not exactly be super comfortable to talk about everything that we were feeling that was going on with us. That we really felt like we didn't have a space where we could talk about things. And that's why we want to do this podcast.
So why? Why listen to us? Why choose our podcast out of a million other podcasts?
Literally. Why listen to Table Culture? Anna Faye, can you please tell us?
So we want to have the conversations that no one is having. We want to have the conversations that make you feel uncomfortable.
Let's get uncomfy.
Let's get uncomfy.
Yes.
We want to talk about the taboo topics or the stuff that's hidden.
Yes, that everyone wants to talk about, but no one talks about, essentially. And yes, we called this podcast Table Culture for a couple different reasons, but one of the main reasons was that we had an apparel brand, and we did a ton of events where we sold from behind a table. And in these events, we would talk to so many people.
Hundreds.
I mean, we probably had thousands of conversations with people, and they all ended up kind of saying the same thing.
Why is nobody talking about this?
Why does nobody talk about this? You guys should really do a podcast and talk about all of these things.
No, seriously.
Literally.
This has been probably 2 years in the making. And that's why we're so excited. We're so excited to be here.
Yes.
And
we can't wait.
We can't wait.
Our podcast is called Table Culture. Also, we grew up in an environment, a crazy Italian family, where everybody sat around a table and talked about everything, but kind of didn't at the same time. So
there were off tables.
Was off table
topics for
sure.
So
we want to create an open, safe space where nothing is off the table.
No conversation is too spicy.
No conversation is too spicy. Nothing is too taboo. We want to create an open table discussion, an open space where you feel comfortable to talk about all of these taboo, uncomfortable,
stigma.
Things that are stigma. And why don't you tell our guests just some of the topics?
Let me just pull up
some of the topics. If you are interested in any of these topics, please tune into our podcast. But tell us, Anna Faye.
Let's start off with some heavy hitters.
The heavy hitters, because that's where we want to go immediately.
Relationships, dating, marriage, sex.
Oh, yeah.
Breakups, divorce.
Yes.
And one of our favorite topics, abuse.
Yes.
Sexual, physical, emotional.
Yeah.
Not
our favorite topic because we like it, but our favorite topic to talk about because
nobody is talking about it.
No one wants to talk about these things.
Or
it's very hidden.
Right. We're also very passionate about mental health. We're passionate about all kinds of therapy, drug therapy, and disorders. So something that we really want to talk about is eating disorders, body dysmorphia, sexual dysfunction.
Yep.
We also want to somewhat talk about religion, and
the way people grew up, culty behavior that some of us might have grown up in.
And then something both, something that we are both curious about, still learning, and something that we feel that is so under discussed is raising children. What it's like to be a mom in 2025, what it's like to be a working mom, work-life balance.
Owning your own business.
And one of our favorites is health and wellness.
Yes.
We want to talk about women's health and reproductive care. That is something that I'm so passionate about.
Yes. And also because we are not taught this as females. We're not taught anything about our bodies. Maybe other people are, but I'm going to say, I was having a conversation with like a bunch of young girls and they were talking about like sex ed and they were like, I never learned any of this stuff. I'm like, what did you, did we
they
just
skip
block
right past it?
Or did we just block this out because we felt so uncomfortable talking? I don't know about you, but background on me, guys. Even though we're sisters, we grew up in the same house. I felt so uncomfortable talking about these very sensitive subjects. And I am a highly sensitive person. If you don't know what that is, read up on highly sensitive people. You may be a highly sensitive person and grow up your entire life and be like, why am I like this? Why am I so sensitive to noise and this and that? And why am I so overwhelmed at certain things? And you just never knew that you were a highly sensitive person. It's not a fake diagnosis, I swear. There's a whole book on it.
It's so good. That's one of my favorite books.
But I didn't talk about things as a kid, and even as an adult, I just felt like, oh, well, I don't want to make this person feel uncomfortable. Or even your own spouse. Like, we're both married. We both have kids. And it took a while for me to be open with my own husband, which is very sad.
Yeah. So one line that just keeps replaying in my head that people have said to me is, how come we never talk about this? Yeah. How come this is the first time I'm finding out about this in my 20s, my late 20s, my 30s? How come I didn't know this? And I'm talking about stuff that's like, we probably should have known and talked about this stuff as children, young women, teens. And it's just, I don't know, we've had some breakthrough, what did we call them? Like breakthrough conversations.
Breakthrough encounters.
Breakthrough encounters with people. And
they're just like hysterically sobbing. And we're like, hi, my name is Christy. Nice to meet you. Yeah. But they're just, I mean, we've always kind of grown up like, we've always kind of been like that. People just.
Word vomit.
Yeah.
Word vomit.
They just tell us their whole lives.
Grocery store. My favorite.
Yeah.
Park. But these are the conversations that we need to start having. The conversations that make us feel uncomfortable with strangers, because you don't know how you can change a person's life, how you can talk to someone and immediately relate. And that is something that we promise on this podcast, that we will have real life stories. We will have real experiences from every walk of life. And you know, we were talking before about other podcasts. Like, maybe we should look and watch other podcasts and, you know, see what they do. And so many of the podcasts were celebrity podcasts or, you know, leading expert on this. And when you listen to a celebrity, it's so hard to relate to them sometimes. And maybe they say that one deep thing that humanizes them and you relate to them. But I think, you know, I'm thinking of like maybe the moth stories on NPR.
Oh my gosh. It's the best. Where those people just literally tell their stories.
And that narrative, it is so powerful. Like what you listen to and how you connect and connect to people on a human level is incredible. And we want to do that. We want to have our listeners on the show. We want to have people write into us. We want to have people at our table with us.
Yeah. Telling their stories and being, you know, sometimes it's just nice to hear, not even nice to hear, but it's relieving. Sometimes you feel so like relieved when you listen to somebody else's story and you're like, wow, I literally have been through the same thing, or I feel exactly the same way. And
you listen to somebody's story and it can almost sometimes identify a feeling or an emotion that you never know you had. And it resonates with you.
Yeah.
And all we need to do is talk to each other, open up. And going back, we were talking about how we grew up sheltered, or even as a woman, like even if you didn't grow up sheltered, maybe you grew up and your parents really weren't there for you.
Yeah.
But growing up as a woman in this society is tough. And you are like, taught to be and act and behave a certain way. And that causes you to disconnect a little bit.
Yeah. Or you're crazy. Or you're saying that you feel.
Or you're weird.
Don't be crazy. Don't be crazy. Don't be over. You know, I heard all the time, you're too much. You're being too much.
You're too emotional. You're too dramatic.
Yes. I don't know if that's just a female thing, but I feel like a lot of us were told.
Yeah.
You're too much.
Okay. Bro. And someone who's been in therapy for the first year of I did therapy, my answer would be, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
It's like, Chris, you know, when they give you the wheels. I mean, I work with special needs kids and adults, and you know, sometimes they can't communicate their feelings, and they give you the feeling wheel. I give this to my clients. I'm like, so, and it's like different faces, like happy, sad, frustrating, and then you say, how do you feel? And maybe they point to one because they don't use words to communicate, or because they're struggling. And I'm like, my husband one time was like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I need the feeling wheel. Or what is it called? Oh gosh.
The emotion wheel?
The emotion. Yeah. Like where it's like the different faces. And like, it'd be like, how do you feel about this? And I'm like,
totally disconnected.
Checked out.
Totally disassociated.
Totally. Yes. So special. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're both people who have been through individual therapy, and also we've both been through marriage therapy, marriage counseling.
That's very important.
Yeah. And it is so important.
Yeah.
And why also, that's another topic that we should be able to say to each other, hey, you know what? I went through this and therapy really helped me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't identify my emotions.
Yeah. I mean, even maybe it's more of maybe because we're millennials, and I know the Gen Z kids are, whatever the generation
lucky
after that is. Yeah, they're lucky. I don't know. I think
they're more aware. They're more self-aware.
They're very, what do they call them? The blue generation, because they're the most aware of their emotions. Is it Gen Zers?
That sounds right.
Something blue generation. I don't know. Something like that. But, you know, we've talked to people that I guess you would call boomers or older people. And
Gen X, boomers.
Yeah, you talk about, I have no idea if I'm saying it right, Gen X, Z, whatever. Forgive us if we didn't say it right, but don't come at us. But you'll say something about therapy or medication, or it kind of sounds like you have anxiety or whatever. They're just like, no. What is that? What do you mean therapy? I'm not going to go do that.
Yeah. Well, why? Because there's such a stigma, and we were raised by those generations. We were influenced by those generations. So like Gabor Mate says, it's a learned behavior from
literally when you're
a child,
a little kid.
If you are honest and you go to the, whoever your authority, your parent, your teacher, and you say the truth, and then you're met with repercussions, or you're met with rejection, you're met with accusation, that's going to cause you to, that's going to shape you. That's going to form you.
That's really interesting, because I listened to, like I was saying before, I was listening to that podcast about addiction, and one of the guests was talking about an assault that she experienced when she was really, really young. It was devastating. And she said that she actually told somebody, and she was shamed for it. I'm like, you were a child. You were a baby child. And she basically, through that experience learned, well, no one's going to believe me. I'm going to be blamed for this. I'm going to be judged. And I kind of think that a lot of us grew up, a lot of us have that similar experience where maybe we did say how we feel. Maybe we were like, hey, I know, I want to talk about my feelings. And we talked about it, and we were met with, are you crazy? Or we were met with, don't talk about that. Don't let anybody know. Or you were met with, like, don't
cry.
Yeah, don't cry. Like, one of the things we want to talk about is grief and death and what, you know, and I don't know if it's just an Italian thing or whatever. It's just like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Like, be strong, be strong. It's like, I know grief looks different to everybody.
Well, too, I think something that, you know, you felt as a little kid, you felt as a teen, then you knew that you learned to reject your own emotions. Then as you get older, you're like, hey, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So we are taught, especially as women, to not go with our gut, to learn to not listen to our gut.
Yeah. That's scary.
Okay. So talk about disconnection from our bodies. This is the stuff we got to talk about.
Yeah.
What are we teaching the generations underneath of us? And I don't know about you. I feel you're exactly the same as me, is that we have purposed, we have chosen to be different. And the way that we do that is to realize that things are stigmas, to realize that these subjects, especially with our own children.
Yep. To talk about the things.
You got to talk about it.
Yeah.
Instead of when they come to you and approach you with things that might feel scary.
Yeah.
You have to identify them, and you can't make them feel like they're going to be judged or they'll have a repercussion.
Or be ashamed of, like, I know we're talking about, like, health and what am I trying to say? Like, women's health and reproductive systems and this and that. And like, we had a joke that, or I was talking to some girls too, and we were talking about how they were told that you can't wear tampons.
Oh my God.
You can wear tampons or you are considered like loose. It's like, and I literally asked one of the girls, I said, so what do you do when you want to go swimming? And she was like, oh, we don't go swimming when we're on our period. I'm like, what?
Oh.
And she's like, oh yeah. And honestly, I don't even know how to put in a tampon.
How old was this person?
24.
Ooh.
Okay. So even just something so basic as people don't want to talk about
our
that,
bodies,
our bodies, or men don't want to talk about things, or like, damn, I guess it's maybe more so because if you grow up in, that person came from a Latin, very fundamentalist, like traditional conservative background. So their family was very much like, abide by these rules and you don't do it. And what I say goes. But I think even us, like, we want this podcast also to be like, I remember one time you're like, question everything.
Question everything.
Well,
let's circle back to the beginning. We are from Northeast New Jersey, and in the 90s and 2000s, we were really immersed in the punk rock music scene. So
New York, New Jersey, hardcore punk rock scene. Yeah. That was like our entire identity.
That was our identity. That was our community.
Yeah.
And question all authority.
Yeah. Like, question authority. Be who you are. Be who you want to be. Like, you can come and join this place and go to shows and feel connected. And nobody really even has to have the same background or upbringing or whatever.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, you could be a punk rock princess. You could be a skinhead. You could be a communist. You could be an emo boy.
Emo. And remember when
you could be straight edge.
You could be straight edge, which we were like, ugh, straight edge kids. Turns out I married a straight edge kid. Like, why?
You turned into a straight edge kid.
I am a straight edge kid now. But yeah, I think that really helped us to, you know, like I said,
we were so curious.
Yeah.
We were so curious.
Grew up conservative, but we're like, wait a second.
Doesn't seem right.
This doesn't seem right. And I think it's like, wait, it's okay to question your faith. It's okay to question your upbringing. I think that's where when you have conversations and you're like, oh, I grew up like that too. And then somebody's like, hey, did you know that's abuse? Like, when you start to have conversations with people and it's like, well, that's the way I grew up. Or like, I just thought that was normal. And then as you start to talk about it with other people, they're like, that behavior's, that's not normal.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, that's trauma.
Hey, yeah, like
That's some serious trauma.
Are you traumatized?
Yeah, they are.
By that?
Yeah. And we need to be able to say to people in a kind and loving way, hey, you might need therapy. Hey, therapy's worked for me. You know, whatever type of therapy, there's all types of therapy.
Yeah.
How about the stigma around marriage counseling?
Oh my goodness.
Even therapists will say there is still such a stigma in 2025.
I actually told somebody recently about, I was like, oh yeah, my husband and I went to marriage counseling like pretty soon after we got married. Like we were struggling, we were not communicating. Just, we came from two completely different backgrounds and then expected to get married and live together. We didn't even live together before. And then just be like, well, everything's okay.
Well, and that is one topic I would
and bring all of our trauma into one place.
Yeah. Bring our baggage together.
Literally.
That is one thing that I want to talk about that nobody talks about. We obsess over dating. We obsess over being engaged. We obsess over the marriage and the wedding. And then peace out.
Goodbye.
Oh, and by the way, you might have some children, but figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah. Or what? We were talking to what's her name? And we were making a joke because she was like, I was like, how's marriage going? And she's like, and then I said something. I'm like, don't you just want to punch? What did you say? Don't you just want to punch your husband for leaving his socks out? And she was like,
oh, leaving his underwear right outside the hamper on the floor or something like that.
And she's like, yeah, wait. And like, I could see it on her face. She was like, wait, I don't know that was okay to talk about. I didn't know it was okay to be like, oh wait, you struggle with this? Like you've been married for 10 years or you've been married and I just got married, and it's supposed to be like, all right, figure it out. Figure it out instead of like, no, come to us, ask us. Like, I want to be that like cool aunt for everybody that they come and they're like, hey,
yeah,
this and this happened and what do you think about it? Or could you listen? I don't know, just like listen to me.
Yeah. So you know what's really interesting is that we were talking about this and we were talking about, let's create a mission statement. What do we want out of this? And I think one of the most powerful things we could do is obviously have a conversation and start a community, but let's encourage people to be mentors and be that person.
Yeah.
And be that person who starts the conversation, who says, hey, let's talk about this. It might make us feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I just want to be honest with you because I have nobody else to talk to about this. And I don't want to feel alone.
Yeah. I think, what do they say, that this is like the most lonely generation or something? Like people are not, I guess because of social media, and people are just literally not talking to each other and they're alone. And yeah. And like even, I don't know if we talked about this before, but like talking about like addiction and it as a disease and sobriety and, different choices that, or even just talking about that is like, I used to live like this and now I'm like, I mean, when you were saying before, I thought it was crazy. You reminded me that you're saying, oh yeah, because we grew up in the punk rock scene and we grew up like this and that was really normal in like the 2000s. And you know what I thought about? I thought about the fact that, again, when I was listening to this girl tell this story, this like addiction podcast or sobriety, or I don't want to call it sobriety podcast. She was saying how she was hanging out with guys. She was 12. And she was hanging out with guys that were 18 and 19. And I'm like listening to it now as an adult thinking, I used to do that exact same thing. And no one was telling me how weird it was.
No, like, they were telling you the opposite. They were telling you,
so cool.
Oh, it's cool to be in 8th grade and have a high school boyfriend. It's cool to be in high school and have a college age boyfriend. I remember being in freshman year and dating a senior and nobody said anything.
No. I was like, what? How are we 14 years old and dating 19-year-olds? Like, I'm sure our parents were like, like, this is not a good idea. But also, like, I think just a long time ago that was more accepted. And I don't know if it was part of like the scene that we were into and we were just, I mean, I experimented a lot. I partied a ton and did drugs and I hung out with people that were like much older than me. But then you know what that led into? That led into me being in places and situations that led to trauma, assault, things that were like you chalk up if it's like that was normal or it was fine, whatever. I'm just gonna forget about that. And you're just like, that literally traumatized you. And like, what?
And when did you?
Didn't tell anybody about it.
Didn't tell anybody about it. Did you ever tell your friends?
No.
Did you ever tell?
No, didn't even tell. Like I was saying to you before that like me and my friend had like very similar experiences with older guys that, you know, were terrible, horrible human beings. And we didn't tell each other what we experienced and came out later in therapy of like, that was abuse. Like that was SA, that was this, that was that. And we didn't say it to each other until our
30s?
Late 20s. I think it was like our late 20s, which is so insane. We've known each other since we were like 11 years old. And we didn't, you know, you're supposed to be so close with these people. And we didn't feel comfortable talking about this because no one was talking. Even, you know, yes, the Me Too movement came out and people started to talk about things more. But then there's still the stigma around talking about like abuse or neglect or this or that. And it's like people don't really want to talk about, oh, I was an addict before, I went to rehab or this or that. And it's just like, wow, this is so sad that we weren't even talking to our close friends, our close family, the trusted people. Like you were saying, we should be mentors for other people. We should be that safe space. And come to table culture.
Come to table culture. We want to hear your experiences. We want to hear your stories. You can come from any walk of life. You're welcome here to sit with us.
You can sit.
We can't wait. You can sit with us.
You can sit with us. Please subscribe to our channel.
If you want to see more videos,
am I in there right?
If you want to see more videos, hear about our future topics, please like and subscribe. Share our videos, like Christy said.
Yeah.
If you know somebody that needs to be
in the conversation, if you know somebody that needs a seat at the table,
I like that.
Yeah, if you need somebody, if you know somebody that needs a seat at the table, send them this video. We'd love to chat with them.
Yeah.
Comments. Let us know. I know we said some of the things that we want to talk about, but if you guys have things that you want to hear about, some juicy stories that you want to talk about.
No topic too spicy.
No topic too spicy.
We can't wait to meet you. We can't wait to learn about you. We are curious about you.
And we're excited.
We're excited. We're so excited.
This is going to be huge. This is going to be huge. We're done. We're Chris. Shout out to Chris.